Hello there. So, welcome to what is essentially my first scripting stream. So I don't do these often because I typically think that it's a bit of a security hazard. But since we're scripting the main UI, which honestly the exploiters will probably have access to anyway, I thought might as well. So, here we have our. Sorry, I'm just shuffling some stuff around. Where the heck is... There it is. Hello. Finn is still the code, yes. To save us a little bit of time, I've already located the script, which currently is used to run the main UI, and so there is a little bit already, so I'm gonna show you what that looks like right now. I'm just gonna use normal play, not play here. And no, I will not go to bed because sleep is for the weak. Yeah, so wait, don't worry about the lighting, by the way, that's temporarily set to that. So right now, if I click play, if I click shop, it does some stuff, cool, but the unfortunate part is right now most of the stuff is non-interactive. So I am essentially rescript, or technically completing the scripting of of this UI, because it was not the scripting of it was not completed by the previous developer who was assigned to this task. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. So first things first, one thing that you will most likely notice as this one sec, The music is really loud. I need to turn it down a bit more. So one thing that you will undoubtedly notice as I'm scripting this is I'm going to be a whole lot more silent than I was with building that, mainly because there is a lot of nuances to the way that this framework works, to the different libraries that we use. So if you ever have any questions, feel free to throw them in chat. I will do my best to answer them. Um, but yeah, all right, let's get right into it. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to drag it off to my side window. You guys don't have to look at that, but I'm essentially going to be creating a new script or new module script. So this is the default script sort of content that I have in my auto-generated scripts. So I'm just gonna copy something from firearm controller over. Or okay, I guess I can't dock that to anywhere. Oh, maybe here. Okay, no, screw that. Typically, I have I have a script that automatically formats my scripts when I insert them. However, the format here isn't quite what I want for this specific this framework, so I changed it up a bit. So main UI controller, gonna change the date, 22 February 2021, and controller to manage the main user interface UI. So, first of all, we have our dependencies tab, and we have, so we on the Site-17 project, one of the things, so one of the main reasons that the Site-17 project functions the way it currently does is because we're testing out a lot of, or we're testing and are testing a lot of different new methods and technologies to see whether or not to use them in future projects. One of the things is IO Game Framework, which is this framework here, which I can definitively say I will not be encouraging the use of because it has so many different loopholes that you have to jump through when you're scripting with it, and we probably will encounter some of these loopholes, but for now, let's just leave it as a open topic. So local main UI controller is a new table, and all the way down here, we're returning main UI controller. So dependencies, services, and primary objects, config variables, MISC variables, private functions, public functions. So I'm just going to start slowly copying over some stuff from the previous script. And so the first step here is going to be essentially to reconstruct what this previous script did, what this one did. Sort of clean it up a bit so that we can work with it a little bit easier. So first of all, let me see if I can somehow move some stuff around to make it so that I can. Ooh, hello. Hey, there we go. Okay. So a bit cramped, but it's fine. So first off, we have our players. Now, before I was going to stream this, I was actually already like starting to make this, so you will see some stuff highlighted like this. So players is called only 3 times here. So there's really no reason that players even needs to be initialized as a variable. So right here, instead of initializing players as a variable, I can just go local. And the only reason it's used is to get local player. So local player is game get service players dot local player. So right there we knock that out. Then we have local lighting equals game get service lighting. Then we have tween service. Now personally, this is probably bad coding practice. Hey Dr. Badbrain. This is probably bad coding practice or considered bad programming practice, coding practice by some, but for tween service I typically abbreviate it as TS. So local TS equals game get service tween service, and you'll see that notation for several other things. And then we have local starter GUI equals game get service starter GUI. Now then, we're going to initialize our main object, main UI here. So local main UI equals local player dot player GUI. That's a folder that exists inside of the player object, and then we're waiting for the main UI child to be added to that folder, which may or may not happen. So then we have current screen. Now current screen is, so there's a distinction between the config variables and the MISIC variables. MISIC variables are essentially variables that are global to this script. And they are typically not they're not configurable. They're not meant to be changed by whoever's looking at the script. They're supposed to just sit there and do work. Whereas config variables are stuff like this, where you might want to go in and change it later on. Like I said, Bob Jones, if you like within reason, of course, I'm not gonna explain what I'm doing every step of the way, even though I'm kind of already doing that. If you have any questions, feel free to toss them into chat, and I'll do my best to answer them. So, current screen. So not another reason that I'm rewriting this is because we actually have our on Site-17 we have a set of coding standards, which I can actually show you, because I don't think that'll leak anything. So here we have our documentation and coding standards. There's a bunch of different standards that are included in this, just to make sure that pretty much all coding looks relatively the same. There's a bunch of stuff in here. And so a lot of the notation you're seeing will be just stuff that I do, and I encourage my fellow developers to do, at least on the team, and even off the team, CAC. So local current screen. So because it is a variable that is holding a non-instance value, it is going to be in the camel case format. What the camel case essentially means, camel case is this sort of notation, and then sort of the opposite to it is we have Pascal case. So as you can see, in camel case, first letter is lowercase, and then each word after that is started with the uppercase, whereas Pascal case, everything is sort of started with an uppercase. So this is camel case, and then we have screens, which is configurable value. It's a dictionary actually, and it also holds instances, so it's going to be uppercase. So local screens equals main equals main UI. Oh, and here's the first thing that I encounter. So on its own, like if I go into the UI, you will notice that inside of the main UI, there is only one child that is used. Well, main UI is here, but that's not used. I honestly don't even know if it. Yeah, it has basically nothing in it. Anyway, I honestly don't know why it hasn't been deleted yet, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do. Also, I should probably rename the script. Main UI controller, and we're just gonna call it temp for now, so we don't mistake it for the other one. So one of the things here is that hub is always used. Main UI is almost never used on its own. However, just in case we do actually want to do stuff with the screen GUI here, we're gonna leave it as a variable. But so what we're doing here is we're just defining hub as a new variable that is main UI dot hub. So now we don't have to go through main UI dot hub every single time. So hub dot home dot left side main, or hub dot home dot right side. And then we have play hub dot play shop hub dot shop. Okay, so we have that. So now we're going to start going on to our public function. So why do I know this is public? Because it's, so in the case of Aero Game Framework, for the most part, if you're using colon, it's it's a public function. So functions or services outside of this one are able to call these functions. So I'm going to go over to here to public function and function. Oh, I just started paying attention to the chat again. Question: will that help keep Site-17 backend code a non-spaghetti mess like Area 14? Yes, that is actually exactly the reason why those documentations and coding standards exist. So, another thing that that you did not see actually is if I go back to the main page, there is this I don't want to say markdown language or markup language. It's called plant UML, and it essentially allows you to generate UML diagrams on the fly. Now, if you know what a UML diagram is, brilliant. If you don't, this is what it looks like once it loads. Now, plant UML, of course, since it's like it's essentially its own language, is still very limited. Like if I zoom out, you will see that part of my UML diagram here is cut off. But like you can see that, for example, table utils, it has a public function called copy, validate filter to JSON, from JSON, invert, reverse, find table occurrence, and isn't table. Output format, gutil, string utils, all that good jazz. And all of it is documented using plant UML, or most of it is documented. Part of it, I have not been keeping up to date with it. But mostly, we also just have like documentation on this website here. Like if I go to, let's say, equipment service, for example, you can see that, oh hey, there's a function that returns void equip player. So you pass in a target player, and you pass in a loadout name as a string. And it's just, so that is exactly the reason why the coding standards exist, why the documentation standards exist, why all of this documentation exists in the background. And it is absolutely fine that you don't understand anything about the code, because another thing that we're doing with this is we're trying to make the code as readable as possible, even if you are not a developer, which is currently also a pretty big problem with Site or with Area 14. Bob Jones, to answer your question, I'm not exactly sure what specifically you mean I memorize, but so first of all, the documentation and coding standards, the only reason I remember all of them is because I wrote all of them, as the team lead for Site-17, and the only reason that I remember how to do all this scripting nonsense is because I've been doing it for such a long time. And even then, like throughout the stream, you will most likely see me just like go off, like my cursor will disappear off, and that's probably because I'm looking it up on a like I'm looking up how to use a certain service off screen, because that's something I do even to this day. Like today, I spent about an hour or an hour and a half trying to figure out how to do something using context action service. When I call, I just Google stuff until it's correct. I mean, that's a okay-ish way of starting stuff. But I would definitely look into actually understanding what the code is supposed to do. Hide screen. Sorry, it's really difficult for me to type and talk at the same time. Yeah. The main way that I learned programming or scripting Roblox in this case was I literally just I still have a testing work. I'm gonna show you my literal first testing world. If I can find it, that is. sec. I'm not sure what sorts of stuff is in archive, so I'm just gonna yeet that away for a sec. What the crap is it? Is it in my games? Aha! Found it! Yeah, so it's in my games. It's literally this. Dr. Karma's place number 15. And despite the fact that it's number 15, this is probably the first place that I actually scripted on. So you will see that there is tons of free models on this thing. And that is because one of the things I would do is I would literally just go into something like this. I would go into its script if I could find it. No, probably in here. Yeah, I would go into the script and I would just start playing around with it and trying to figure out what the heck it was doing and how it was doing it. That's how I learned scripting. And that applies to building as well. Like, this was one of, like, I wouldn't say it was the first build, but it's pretty up there. My first attempt at an elevator was pretty trashy. It was me attempting to emulate something that I did on Arc 190, or not I did, but something that they did on Arc 190. Did not turn out well at all. Dr. Bad Brain, Tears and Suffering. Quite a bit of those as well, yes. I spent literally, so I am a computer engineering major at my college. Last week, I spent quite literally 12 hours trying to understand an assignment. Or, sorry, I understood the assignment. I wasn't able to figure out why it wasn't working, and I spent about 12 hours debugging that stupid thing. It really paid off in the end, because, like, the feeling of satisfaction that you get when you finish a project like that, especially after the amount of time that you spent throwing at said project, is just, like, it's honestly probably the best feeling you can possibly get. Karma definitely broke like 4 keyboards learning to code. I mean, you're kind of not wrong. I do a fair bit of keyboard smashing, and I think I replaced my previous keyboard because the delete key was stuck, or would get stuck all the time. So now we have found another no-no, and that is a line of code that is just very long, and we can see like below it is an even worse one. So the typical solution to that is either to break it apart into multiple lines, or for example for this, I would honestly just create, like, I would just create a variable and put this entire thing into its own variable. So I'm gonna go selection, I misspelled it, position x scale, and I realize that's not particularly a good it's not a particularly good name, but I don't care. So here I'm gonna create a default. So because this one here, because once again, if we go into hub, you can see that it's broken apart into quite a bit of categories, and there's no reason we shouldn't create we shouldn't set default as its own variable, except maybe like this wouldn't be the best name, but you know, doesn't matter too much anyway. So hub the default, and I'm just sort of keeping it separated away from these larger objects, sort of symbolically almost. So we have default dot selection requested screen dot position dot x dot scale, and then we're just going to do what the developer did here originally. Selection dot mover dot position default. Oh, okay, gotcha. Equals udim2.new selection position x scale, and if I should be 0, 1, 0, 1, or yeah, 0, 1, 0. I keep an old keyboard on the ground next to my desk that I smash when I get mad. um, I mean, oh, I accidentally, I'm sitting in a spinny chair and I accidentally drifted off into the middle of the room. I mean, I have a hard drive in my drawer by my bed that I can smash. No, I'm kidding. That's that's not a good idea. If requested screen equal or oh, it does not equal main. For this, so I use a special kind of font called Furica. Oh, crap. I completely forgot. I changed around some stream settings, because I noticed that some of my previous streams were looking like 480 to 720p. Can somebody confirm that you guys can actually see the code and what it says? Like, does it look good? Please tell me it looks good, because I've just been ranting at you guys for what, like half an hour now? And it would be very unfortunate if you guys couldn't even see the code. Hey! Okay, cool, so I did fix the stuff. Can you see the code, though? Fantastic, okay, cool. Okay, so, so it's still a little bit difficult to see. So essentially, Vera code, which is the font I use, so typically, if you combine this, it'll look something like this. But because of the way Fury code works, if I combine these two symbols close together, or sorry, in the opposite way, so if I take these two symbols and I put them together, so here I have the tilde, here I have the equals, and if you put those two together, it means not equals, instead of, every other programming language that does this. If I put them together, so I'm going to delete this space here, it puts them together like this. So it is a little bit confusing, so instead, so let me just zoom out now. A bit too much there. Instead of that, I typically actually use if requested screen equals main, and then I just take this entire thing and I wrap it in parentheses and then put a not in front of it. So that just makes it a little bit easier to read. Okay, now we have so this is the point where I reached before I realized, oh hey, I should probably stream this. So I'm gonna take a look at what the developer is doing here. So they created a absolutely massive array. I'm gonna try and expand it a little bit. So it looks like the first thing that they were doing was creating a tween for blurring. So there's a blur object under lighting. Yep, there it is. And then they are tweening it to size 58, and they're putting it. Okay, cool. So ts create lighting.blur tweeninfo.new, and this is just defining how long it'll take for the tween to take. So in this case, 1 second. And then we're setting the size to be 56 at the end, and we're just playing that immediately. For the second one, though, having it in this format is very long and difficult to read, so I'm actually going to separate it out into several lines. So ts create, and then we're going to do this. So default.selection.mover, that's going to be our object that we're affecting. We're going to put tween info on the next line, so tweeninfo.new, that's going to be 0.25. So it's going to take 25 seconds to execute whatever it's trying to do. Now we're going to open up a new dictionary, and now we're going to start looking at what properties it's changing. So first of all, it's setting the size to be udim2.new, not 0.175, not 5, 0. It's setting the position to be I'm gonna okay, so it looks like this variable here is used in more than one place. So I'm just gonna kind of put it outside here so it can be used here again, so we don't have to use it or recreate it again. New selection exponential scale 0, 1, 0, and then that is gonna just play that. So there we go, separated it out. Slightly more messy, I'd say, but definitely worth it for the readability, because having to scroll all the way over here to figure out what it's doing is not always the best thing. Alright, and then for IV in pairs, screens requested screen do v.visible equals true. Okay, and that's the end of that function. So then we have the function called the main screen. Function main UI controller main screen ts create lighting dot. Ooh, Roblox decides to save again. Crystal clear, yes, we can see everything. Code is perfectly readable. What did I just see in my recommended? I don't know, dude. What did you see in your recommended? Blur. Oh, it's literally the same thing. Oh, except the size is being set to 0 this time. So tweeninfo.new 1 size equals 0. Play. And then ts create. Then we're gonna do the same thing. So default dot mover. Tween info. Oops. Dot new 0.25. And then size equals udim2 dot new 0, 0, 0, 0. And then we're just playing that entire thing. So it's making the mover tiny. And then after that, it is hiding the current screen. Current screen. And then it is showing the main screen. So, one thing I'm definitely changing immediately, there is no reason that these should be colons, because colons are only used for instantiatable objects. Which I realize goes pretty much against what I said previously, but kek. And then this is going to be replaced with main UI controller. So this should not be a colon. So that should be good. Oh. Then, there we go. And then function main UI controller. Oh, that's start now. Okay, start has to be the colon, because otherwise stuff breaks. Item in pairs default dot selection get children do if item dot class name. So if it's the class name is a text button, then it then it attaches a connection. So item dot mouse button 1 down. So if essentially if the button is clicked, it fires off this function that is defined here, and all it's doing in the function is it's calling main UI controller dot show screen with the item dot name. So now, so we have a, oh, I'm gonna copy over the init function. So function main UI controller init, and there's not really a reason to do that, but I'm still gonna do it. So now, if we delete that, main UI controller. So now, if we, so you can't immediately return like this. So you can't immediately return main UI controller because it's gonna say, oh hey, you have a problem here because I expected end of file. So instead, what we're gonna do is we're gonna cheese it really hard and we're gonna go if true, which it's always gonna be true, then return main UI controller end. Boom. So now essentially what it's going to do is, as soon as it reaches this line, it's going to say, oh hey, it's true, I'm going to return immediately and not do anything that's over here. So, cool. Check the video out, Karma. Maybe you can give some lore. What video are you talking about? Yeah, I have no idea what video you're talking about. Anyway, point is, did you? I don't see it in my DMs. If you sent it in chat, it probably blocked it. So just send it to me via Discord. So essentially what we've done here now, Kek, did I mess something up? Yeah, main UI controller, and so now essentially it's gonna immediately return and it's not gonna run anything. So the only stuff that is gonna run is the stuff in here. So let's go ahead and test it out and see if the UI still works, at least if it works the same way. Yeah, Dr. Bad Brain, I didn't see anything in the chat, so probably broke it. Ah, yes. So one moment, I'll get to that video in a second. So, cool. So something clearly broke. So, let's go ahead and figure out what broke. So first things first, when we were clicking on it, something wasn't firing. So I'm gonna go ahead and say, oh hey, whoops, not here though. If it detects a click, print clicked, or click. I just found out why my old membrane motherboard keyboard won't work. The internal motherboard snapped in half. Yeah, that'll do it. Okay, so it is detecting the click. It's just not running the function that I want it to run. So right quick before we move on. Nope. No, you don't. You don't play that. So the video Dr. Bad Brain was talking about was this one, where I built a door like this. Hello? And it's just a bit of a time lapse. There's honestly no history behind this. It's literally just something that I wanted to do. So I found some concept art and I made this door. I did, however, do a bit of an interesting project with it later, where I, for the first time, managed to animate a non-humanoid with a humanoid animator, which was pretty fun. YouTube put it in my autoplay. Yeah, that'll do it. You've been watching enough of my stream now, haha. Okay, so that is okay. So it's executing this. So show screen. Where's show screen? Here is show screen. Okay, so if I put this is how all the professional debuggers or all the professional scripters do this. Even though the debug breakpoints do exist, I'm just gonna be honest. Most people just do something like this. So let's just run that, see what happens. So now when I click shop, nice! It only got to A. So, what that tells us, that it only made it to here. So that means it didn't pass this if statement, and it didn't pass this if statement. Fantastic. So, let's reopen that other main UI controller and see what the developer did there. Please. There we go. And this is, of course, a runtime error. So if requested screen is equal to current screen, then do that, which it is not. Else if screens requested screen, then okay, yeah. I'm not quite sure why that's not working. Oh, yeah, there it is. That's probably why. Or maybe not. Huh. Gotta double check all the stuff there. Current screen is main. Is this set up properly? Screens main. Yeah, I mean it looks good. What the heck? Okay, let's try it again. Okay, so it's only reaching 8. After you have tried the print statements, now is typically the point where we start using the breakpoint. So I'm just gonna place a breakpoint right here. So the requested screen here is, oh, okay, yeah, I know why the developer did what they did. Okay, so these do have to be uppercase, and that is because they're actually basing those names off of the names of the elements themselves, which are uppercase. So let's just change all of these to their proper uppercase names. Now, of course, I could just do a 2 lowercase function, but meh, no reason to at this point. So now when we play this, it should work properly. I see that message retracted. I don't know what the message was, but kyak. Finnegack. Okay. And now an error fired. Okay, what's happening here? Position is not a valid member of text button. Okay. That's line 74. Right before it checks this. Okay. Okay, what if we just put this... Kek, I hate that stupid mode. I said I found a random staple in my keyboard. Well done. Okay, yeah, so what happens if we just put it in here? And then, of course, we have a different one. I think we use it here. Yeah, so now I also have to put that here. So let's take a look at what that looks like. And still a problem. What is happening? Hub default dot selection requested screen dot position dot x dot scale. Okay, so it's saying that position is not a valid member of text button. Oh, that's because I misspelled it. That's why. Why isn't it working? Well, of course it's not working. You didn't spell it right. Hello? Oh, okay. Cool. Thanks, Roblox. Love it. Site-17. There it is. I mean, if you don't own a stapler, well, stapler had to come from somewhere, eh? Almost midnight. It's fine though. Oh, fantastic. Okay. Crap. I guess when I was pressing Control Z, it just put in the Z character. Okay, let's try that again. SCP. Buh. Okay, mover is not a valid member of frame. So, where is mover? That's under main screen. Oh, it's default .selection.mover. .selection.mover. Yeah, so it's welcome to scripting in Roblox. This is pretty much what you do. You go to implement something, you test it, doesn't work, it never works on the first time, and then you go back and figure out what you did wrong, find out that it's something stupid, and then yeah. Main is not a valid member frame. Okay then. What do you mean? Oh, okay. That's fair. Cack. Oh yeah, and on the off chance that something does work the first time, that's when you start to panic because nothing is ever supposed to work on the first time. It means something else somewhere else is terribly wrong. I wish I was joking. Well, either that or it's gonna break somewhere down the line really quickly because of something you weren't anticipating. Freaking hell. Move is it's mover, not move. What do you mean? It's move right here. That's not it. Yeah, it's mover. What gives? What do you mean? What do you mean? Line 86, right? What? Oh, that was down here. Crap. I'm a night out. Hey, there we go. Okay, so stuff moves, or stuff works now. We can get rid of the print statements. What do you mean? Okay. Okay, cool. So that's done. At this point, since we have verified that this now works the way that the original one worked, we're not gonna get rid of this quite yet, but we are gonna say something like depreciated. We're gonna rename this to be the actual one now. So let's analyze the heck out of what this does. So first things first, we're gonna quickly add some comments to what this is, or to what this does. So I'm just gonna actually reopen these old ones because the comments here will help. There we go. Okay, so remember how I said that this wasn't this didn't follow documentation standards? Well, this is one of those things. It doesn't say like hide screen. Okay, okay, it hides the screen. Okay, um, but it that okay. It hides the screen, but what? Why? How does it do it? So well, the how I guess is in here, but still. Okay, so this well hides screen, shows specific screen. I'm gonna add a space here. There was originally a space here. If the button is clicked again, go back to main screen. But what is main screen? Self hide screen. Hide previous screen. But it's current screen. You guys see you guys see what my issues here? If requested screen is that show requested screen. Main screen. So from what I'm understanding, main screen is literally just like Finna default screen. Yeah, because there's no main screen right over here. So main screen is so if we run this. Watch this break because I added a couple comments. So main screen is literally just this. Sorry, I realize I'm being kind of silent, just clicking away at the buttons, but one of the reasons I'm doing that, or sorry, specifically the main reason I'm doing that is because I'm trying to figure out how I want this transition to work. Because, you know, having it just transition straight in like this is okay, I guess, but I'm not sure it's what I want. So one idea I had is to sort of have this section over here move over to the left and have this section over here move over to the right. But then the question becomes, how does this move in? Like, does it come down from the bottom? Well, I mean, I guess it could. Yeah, you know what? That's exactly what I'm gonna do. Screw it. Okay, so let's break down how this UI works. So, this is the default UI from what I'm seeing. Okay, so bottom is here, profile is here. So okay, wait, no, so that's not the default. Oh, ha, it's called main. Okay, so so this is quite literally. Why main? Oh, it's home. Okay, so home is literally right here. So why is this called main? What's the point? I'm gonna go through this and rename it all to home. Sorry, I have a tendency to put a pen or a pencil in my mouth. Where's this calling main screen? Okay. So let's test this out and make sure that it's still working the way it's supposed to be. Fantastic, it works exactly the same. Okay, so, actually, before I even do that, I'm going to go ahead and create some. So first of all, when you were looking, like when we spawned in, one of the things that I noticed immediately opened up was the player list, and that's not something that we want happening really ever. So I'm just gonna go ahead and try and figure out how to disable that. Now, of course, Big Boy developer Karma doesn't remember everything, so we're gonna utilize the friend of our also dearest Professor Google. And I believe that that uses Roblox Core GUI. I think that's what is used for that. Yeah, you can use set Core GUI enable to enable and disable most elements of the Core GUI. Blah blah blah. So right here, I'm just going to go ahead and click on this, and we can see that Core GUI type. Core GUI type is an enum, I believe. Maybe not. Okay, so we are going to just casually main UI controller init. So here we're going to disable player list. We're going to go, and because we already have starter GUI enabled all the way up the top, starter GUI set core GUI enabled. I think it's an enum dot core GUI type dot player list false. So now once we go into game, that should no longer show, and I'm just gonna drag that back over because I'm actually using that window for watching chat. Yeah, there we go. So we can no longer see chat in the top right. So fantastic. We do have Jeffrey over here. He's my friendly paralysis demon that I don't think I've ever actually seen in real life, but don't worry about it. I really can't wait to meet Jeffrey. Jeffrey holds a special place in my heart. So okay, so right now we have the player list disabled. Normally we'd also have the backpack disabled. So I'm actually going to disable core GUIs, and here I'm also going to do starter GUI set core GUI enabled enum.core GUI type backpack false. Now I could do this all in one line using just say .all, but the problem is I'm still doing testing, and a lot of developers are too. So what I'm just gonna do is I'm gonna temporarily comment this out and then comment it back in later. Once I'm done with that. So next step, so we have home, we have left side, and we have right side. So the idea here now is that the right side will slide to the right, the left side will slide to the left, and then whatever page is being requested is going to slide in from the middle, from the bottom middle. Now, we won't know how that'll look until we actually implement it, and hopefully it'll look good. Question is, why do printers use dumb star screws to hold them together? Those are called security screws, or how they're also referred to as torque screws. I actually have a kit here literally right by my desk, and I have literally like I'd say 50 maybe different variants of torque screws, if not more. Probably more like 80 to be honest. So those torque screws are made specifically for several reasons. First of all, they don't want consumers poking around in their tech. Not because they don't not because they think you'll steal their secrets or something, but mainly because they're worried about like you breaking something in there and then calling them and saying, "Oh, hey, I want a warranty," blah blah blah, and removing torque screws without those special screw heads is is pretty darn difficult. And don't quote me on that. That's just my personal speculation. Thanks for saving again, Roblox. Okay, so now the next thing that's going to be sort of happening with this is well, okay, so we request a so right now once we spawn in, we are going to be in the home menu essentially. However, what happens after we're already, so when we press a button, whether it's play or shop, we are going to see these slide out, and then whatever we're requesting to slide in from the middle. But what happens after we're actually here? Now, at this point, I think the transition should completely change. So, for example, if I go to play, instead, this entire UI should slide over to the right, and this UI should slide in from the left, and vice versa. So if I click shop, then this will slide over to the left, and shop will slide in from the right. So kind of like different pages. And of course, once we actually unclick that, that'll slide back down, and these two will slide in from the sides. Now, that is most certainly quite a bit harder than what is currently going on. So we're going to have several essentially new functions exist. Now, honestly, I don't understand why a majority of these are like even a thing. These should be private functions because nothing else really needs access to them. Like the only sort of public function I could think of that would need to exist in this controller would be something like force to main screen, that would forcibly return the player to the main screen. Like that would be a public function. I don't know why anything else would need to be a public function. So we're gonna create a local function, and we're just gonna say leave home. That's gonna be the name of our function. And subsequently, so we're having, once again, we're having the left side slide to the left, and we're having the right side slide to the right. So first of all, we never want this to execute if we are not at home, right? We never want to leave home if we've already left home. So we're going to say if not, if current screen is equal to home, but it's not. So if it's not equal to, if it's not home, then I can't type, return end. So this will essentially disallow this function to be called if we're not already home. So if we're home, this will be called. If not, it'll just immediately return. So next, we're just going to play around with the UI a little bit. So how much do we want to move it off screen? So if we, I hit my properties, didn't I? Yeah, I did. So if I just start playing around with the position, so the position here is negative 0.2. So what happened? And the thickness is 3 or 0.361. So I just pulled out my TI-84 calculator, which I have sitting on my desk. Now, if you're in high school or in college, you know exactly what I'm talking about because this is one of the nicest calculators ever. Changed my mind. And it just threw a warning at me saying my batteries are low. Fun. So anyway, 0.361 plus 0.02 is 0.381. So theoretically, if I move this to be negative 381 It should be completely off screen. Yeah. So and then if we start moving this like 350 or not. Okay. Negative 0.12. 2.2. 3.2. Huh. Whatever. People with their own TI-84s, bruh. If you're in high school, definitely recommend it. But what I can honestly recommend even more, and you'll hear a lot of jokes about these, MATLAB. If your school provides MATLAB, learn MATLAB early. Like, not even joking. MATLAB is almost like a calculator for it's almost like a programmable calculator. Okay, good. Yeah, learn it. You will thank yourself later when they're gonna force you to use it in college, assuming you're going the engineering route. I mean, um, okay. So for this left side, we determined that we can move it. We can put it to negative 0.5 scale on the left side. For the right side, anchor point is set to that. So we can honestly probably just move it to 1.5. Yep. Fantastic. Okay, so we have our two values for the most part. So what we're gonna do, so first of all, we're gonna create a tinfo, or tween info, because we want those to move at essentially the same time. So we're gonna 0.5. Now the next thing, or let's up that to 1 second. Let's say that we actually want them to not really just immediately start moving, but we want them to sort of ease into that. So we're gonna be using easing. We're gonna be using enum.easing style. So in this case, we're just gonna try quad first, and then we can try other ones. And we're gonna say enum.easing direction, and we want it to ease into that. So there we go. We have our tween info, and then for our default, so now we're gonna actually do the tweening. So ts create default dot hold up. Oh wait, that's not default. That's home. So we're gonna create a new one called home equals hub.home. So we're gonna say home dot left side, and we're honestly probably just gonna separate this out again. Actually, no, we don't need to, because this should be a relatively small tinfo. And then we set the udim to be that. Position equals udim2 dot new negative 0.5 0 0.5 0, and we're just gonna immediately play it, and then we're gonna essentially do the same thing for the right side. So ts create home dot left side right side tinfo position equals udim 2 dot new, and that's gonna be 1.5 0.5 0 or 0.5. Now we're just gonna immediately play it. Beautiful. Hey! Aerospace engineering was actually one of the first majors I was considering, so very happy for you. Well done. You're gonna have a lot of fun there, I hope. Right. And then, so, okay, so we have started the tween. Now the tween is asynchronous, which means that it doesn't care. Like it doesn't wait for the tween to finish. Like it says, "Oh hey tween, you exist now. Go," and it's gonna do its thing for according to our defined tweening info, 1 second. So because we don't want it to, because well actually I don't know. I'll just leave that there for now. I'll explain what that's for later. So um, sorry, I promise it's not COVID. Um, Okay, so these two have started moving off of screen. What happens next? So now let's say we have the play menu. So the play menu is now supposed to move up from the bottom. So, um, right. Okay. So play needs to move onto screen. So that is set to anchor point 055. That is good. That makes our life easy because all that means is that we need to set this position, specifically the Y position, to be negative 0.5, which means that it's literally like a screen below our screen. So what we do here is we get the requested. Oh, okay. So we're gonna pass in a requested screen into here. So we are going to say at this point, um, oh hey, let's take the requested screen. So let's go local target screen equals screens requested screen. So that means that we don't have to reference screens requested screen every single time. And we're just gonna take that target screen and we're gonna set its position to be literally just below. So udem2.new 0.5. We still want it to be in the middle of the screen. 0 offset. Here we're going to set it to negative 0.5. 0.5. And then we're going to set it to 0 offset on the Y scale. Okay, so it's now hanging out directly below ours. At this point, we want to target screen. We want to set that target screen. So here, I think it's as simple as enabling its visibility. Yeah, it is. So here we're just gonna set its visibility to true, right? And then we're gonna create the tween. So we're gonna do tinfo again, but we're gonna set it to something new. We're gonna set tween info.new. We still want it at that same speed. However, instead of easing in, because it's going to be off screen when it's easing in, we actually want it to ease out. So easing, so we're still going to use the quad easing style. Enum.easing direction.out. So we're going to have it ease out. So sort of slow down as it comes in. And then we're going to have it execute this tween. So at this point, we're going to use target screen as the target. We're going to pass tinfo. We're going to say, oh, hey, its position should be udem2.new 0.50, 0.50. And we're just going to immediately play it. Now, for good measure, because this is essentially acting as a complete transition, we want to make sure that that we can't do anything until this whole operation executes. Now, because we're only using 1 and 1, and we're not really using any other delays, cough cough, this one that I had commented out, we're just gonna add an additional delay. So we're gonna call that blocker delay of a total of 1 second. So that's essentially gonna have us have the function wait for everything in here to execute. Okay, cool. We have this happen. We have had this happen. So if current screen is home, so this right here, this function, is pretty much what we're looking for to use. So no, I'm wrong. Check. Okay. Okay, we're gonna temporarily use this here. Okay, so it's gonna. Oh, for bloody hell's sakes. Okay, screw it. Um. You know what? No, no, no. No. Um. I'm just gonna recreate this function. Main UI controller dot show screen requested screen. Um. And for the time being, just to see the transition, I'm just going to go ahead and directly call leave home with the requested screen. So that'll hopefully work. And I'm just going to comment all of this out. All the way up to here, because we honestly don't need it anymore. So yeah, so show screen is being called from here. So we are just going to try playing it and see what happens. Okay, so we have loaded in. Let's try shop. And something broke. Like I said, nothing works. Nothing works the first time ever. Okay, unable to cast value to object. It'd be fantastic if I actually knew what that meant. Oh, I misspelled position again. I'm dying inside. Help. I stepped on the same rake and it smacked me in the face again. Okay, let's try it. Okay, so looks like that may not have been the problem. Check. Okay, line 70 still. Okay, let's try this. So we're gonna try separating this out onto several different lines. And that will hopefully let us see where exactly our snafu is. Okay, so that is still line 70. I'm kind of concerned. So target screen is being passed in. Let's go ahead and print target screen. See what's being passed to that. Oh. Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so when I'm pressing shop, it's passing in this table instead of this. So we're just gonna instead of doing that, we are going to do so target screen is the hub requested screen. There you go. That should do what we want it to now. Hello, random dude, and I agree. Ah! Okay. Position is not a valid member of frame. I misspelled position again. What do you mean? Where? 65? Yeah. Programming is a love-hate relationship. Oh boy. Why is it sliding in from the top? Excuse me? Did I forget to set a... Yeah, I forgot to set it, didn't I? No? What gives? What? Hello, Zetronius? Or... Zetronus. Hello! Welcome to the stream. And, I shall indeed, once my brain cells become, a little bit more intellectual than they apparently are right now, because, this thing is shooting itself. I don't know why. Okay, out of curiosity, let's put a breakpoint there and see what's happening. So if you didn't know what breakpoints in programming are, they exist for pretty much any IDE. So essentially, when the code reaches that point, it stops. So if I click shop right now, it'll stop right here, and it'll give me some information about what is happening. So if I go to watch, I can see target screen right now, so I can get its absolute position. What I'm looking for actually though is its, well, normal position. So its normal position is 0 or 0.50 negative 0.50. Oh, and of course it's disabled. Golly. And then for some reason it slides in from the top. Oh, let me disable that. For some reason it slides in from the top? Why? Why do you slide in from the top? I'm mystified. Heck. Okay, so let's walk through this again. So we get the target screen, right? Target screen is something like, I don't know, shop, for example. It sets its position to 0.50, which is, if we look here, it is the X position, right? And then the Y position set to negative 0.50. That explains it. I completely forgot. In programming or in computers typically, negative direction is actually up for Y, not down. So instead of setting to negative 0.5, it's supposed to be 1.5. Watch this fix absolutely everything. Whoa, okay, then. I don't know what that was, but that was scary. Hey, look at that. That looks cool. That looks good. Okay. So, so we have enabled the, or we have implemented the leave home function. Now, of course, we gotta do the opposite. We need to come home. So, local function, come home, or yeah, we'll just call it come home. If current screen oh, it's sort of the same. So if the current screen is not already, like if we're not already home, because if we're home, we can't come home, right? If current screen is not home, then it does nothing. Or wait. Sorry, I'm just gonna rewrite that. So in order to come home, we need to first be not home. So if current screen is not home, then we take this, we refactor this to this, and then we do that. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I forget. This is the return. So, essentially, what we're doing here is actually, if we are home, so if the current screen is home, Keck. So if the current screen is home, then we return. So like it does nothing. Okay, there we go. That's why I was confused, because these aren't these two functions are supposed to have polar opposites for return statements. Okay, so once again, local tinfo equals tweeninfo dot new enum dot using style quad enum dot using direction, and because the left and right sides are now coming back in, we're actually gonna have them ease out. So ts create, and we can, I think, literally just copy paste this from here, but whoops. But we do need to adjust these positioning slightly, because now they're moving back into the positions that they are supposed to be in. Oops. So we go to here, and we're just gonna adjust that to what it was originally. So 0.025 or 0.02. Then here it's going to be 0.989. And we're gonna play that. We're gonna add that weight, even though we're not gonna do anything with it quite yet. We may do something with it later. And then the local target screen. So current target screen is essentially what we're going to be moving off. So, and we want to move it down. So we are going to same sort of thing, hub, but instead we're using current screen. Target screen dot position. Well, should be in the middle. So we honestly don't even have to do anything here, because it's already supposed to be in the middle. What am I gonna do with it if it's already in the middle and already visible? So, and now we're just going to create that new tinfo dot new with a time of 1 enum dot using style dot quad, and then enum dot using direction. So because it's moving off, it's starting out slow and moving off quicker. We're gonna have it ease in to this into this motion, and then we're just going to well, first of all, we're gonna get rid of this print statement because that's redundant now. We don't need it. And then we're gonna have ts create target screen tinfo position. I'm gonna make sure I don't misspell position this time. udem2.new. And now we are going to move it off screen, so that's 0.5, 0, 1.5. Haha, or my mistake. And we're just gonna immediately play that. Sort of similarly to what we did before, we're gonna add a blocker delay. that yields this entire function until this, well, action has ceased. So if we do that, so now we're going to go back to main UI controller.show screen. So now we actually have to kind of be more careful here. So we're going to go if requested screen equals current screen, then, and that is essentially main or button clicked again, go back to main screen. And we are going to go, we're going to come home, right? Right? Yeah. And of course, if it's not, if the button isn't current screen, but in this case we're checking to make sure that it actually exists under the screens. Then we are going to requested new screen, leave home, and go to screen. Cool. Beautiful. Okay, so we're gonna try playing it and see what happens. Mechanalize. I'm not at liberty to discuss that. Mainly because, well, dev stuff. And plus, we haven't exactly fully established how much. Anyway, so now when I press shop, okay, so that works, and then, uh-oh, well, something went wrong. Oh, you know what? We forgot to actually change what our current screen is. So, as you could maybe recall, over here, we were setting, after we were calling, whatever, we were setting this to be whatever the screen is supposed to be. And similarly, here in main screen, we were showing the screen home. Now, because come home will always result in us going home, we're literally just going to go current screen equals home. And because leave home will always result in us leaving the home, we are going to say current screen is equal to requested screen. Not require, requested screen. So let's see if that kind of fixes our problem. Yes, I am very much I am very much reasonably compensated for my work. Any tips on how we can learn the basics of developing on Roblox for starters? Don't watch YouTube videos. Sorry, no, that's too vague. I've heard really good things about Alvin blocks. Personally, I don't think I've ever watched any of their videos. I have definitely heard their name floating around. The way I personally learned it was I think I even showed it earlier in the stream. I pulled up one of my first test places. I literally just had a bunch of free models on it, and I essentially just went around looking at what the scripts do, how they work, and what changes if I start playing around with different things inside of the script. Now Lua, it is really easy to learn. Like, looking at this, for the most part, it's fairly like Lua is designed to match the syntax of how we talk. So, like, for example, an if statement is a conditional statement. So if item.className, right? So if the item's class name is text button, then do this. So and that's for an if statement. For something like a while statement, you would do while true, for example, do. Not that, do. End. And it does whatever is in here. So Lua is really easy to start off. I would definitely recommend to just go for it. Don't worry about any of the like advanced things. Don't worry about anything like meta tables. Don't worry about dictionaries. Just get in there, try doing something. Literally the first script that I made, and I still have it somewhere, was me turning the material and a color of a brick to essentially be a different color, and it used a click detector. I think I probably still have access to it, to be honest with you. Yeah, anyway, so we're back in the UI. So clicking on shop pulls up shop. Hey, cool. So, one of the problems that y'all may have noticed is when this UI comes and goes, it tends to partially clip these edges here, both on this side and both on the left side and on the right side. See? Ooh. So it tends to slightly clip it. So we don't want that. So that is the main reason why we have this delay here and why it was commented out. So here, let's just try, and same thing for here. Let's just try setting that to 0.5, and of course accordingly we're going to increase the blocker delay by 0.5 to make sure that it is to make sure it's waiting an adequate amount. So let's. This seems like hard work. That's very important to the game to work. Yes. Yeah. It is very important. This is so. I kept saying about how the FP spawn is probably one of the first things that people will see. This isn't one of the first things. This is the first thing. So the first thing that the people are going to see once they enter the game is going to be either the loading screen or this screen. So, oopsie daisy. Okay, so we fixed the issue with it coming in, but it seems like for coming out, we actually made it worse. So for the UI controller, so right now, honestly, the delay for going home or leaving home, or yeah, for leaving home, it's actually a little bit too much. So I'm gonna half that to 0.25 and accordingly adjust that here. Now the problem here is that we essentially copied this, but with different values. We can't do that because this maintains the same order that this does. So in order to fix this, all we really have to do is we have to take this and we have to switch this. We have to switch these two in their places. So and that right there, and oops, I need to make sure I move the target screen to up here, I think. That on its own should fix it. So now when we click on shop, it comes in. There we go. Fantastic. So could be a little bit quicker, so I'm actually going to bring both of those down to 0.1. So this is going to be 0.1. And we can play around with the timings a little bit more later. But yes, M3, hello brother. Quite literally, M3 is my brother in real life. Yes, coding is for nerds, and you are a nerd as well, and that is why nerds rule the world. So there we go. A little bit of a clipping issue, so I'm probably gonna boost that back up to 1.2. But yeah, now one of the problems you may have noticed in the previous attempts, especially when the delay was up, if I click this too fast, it does some really weird things. And we don't want it to do that. So we're going to add something that is called a debounce. So first of all, I'm going to up this to 0.2. So we're going to add a new music variable that is going to be called local transition debounce. And we're going to set it to false by default. So now, to the start of all of these, to leave home and to come home, we are going to say, if the transition debounce is active, then return end. So that is going to prevent this function from running if the transition debounce is in effect. Now, consequently, if the transition debounce is not in effect, we are going to set it to be in effect. And then at the very, very end of this, we are going to set it to be not in effect. And we're just going to do the same thing for here. So if transition debounce, then return end. And transition debounce equals false. And of course up here we need to make sure we set it to true. Now, why does this matter? Currently, it will do absolutely nothing. Or, sorry, no, that's a lie. It will do something. Right now, so show screen. So because main mouse button 1 down says, oh hey, you gotta show this screen. It'll call this, and then it'll say, oh hey, you know, current screen is, I don't know, home. And it'll say leave home and go to requested screen. But if the debounce is already active and it's trying to leave the home, it's not gonna go anywhere. So now if we test this, exactly, nerds do be landing rovers on other planets, no. And then we have Elon Musk, who's making massive strides in literally everything. So now if we, like, you can, one sec, let me move this so that's over the shop. Like, you can hear me clicking that. Like, it's not doing anything sketchy anymore. Alternate solution, kick the player if they press it more than once, either play by my rules or die. YellowJet actually did that today. We were working on a meme, where he was creating a monitor, and essentially the player shouldn't be able to move while they're watching the monitor. So he literally made the humanoid die if it walked, like if they tried to walk. It was amazing. It's fantastic. Okay, cool. So that is done. Oh, I forgot to demonstrate the other thing that we need to do. So, as you remember from my my spiel at the beginning of like sort of when we were trying to figure out how all the transitions were going to work, we said that if it's on shop and I click on play, it should, like, you know, slide across the screen to play. But of course, right now it's not going to do that. So right now, seems like the way I set stuff up makes it so you have to return to the home screen, which, as y'all understand, is not ideal. So we need to fix that. So what is going on? So okay, so let's say we are on shop, right? So right now we are on shop. Current screen is shop, and we are not currently on shop. We are on play. So what is happening? Why is nothing working? So we go to this loop. Requested screen is play. We want to go to play. So first of all, is play equal to the current shop? No, it is not. So we're not coming home. We're going to here. Screens, requested screen. Does play exist? Yes, it does. So we're going to go into here. We're going to leave home. Leave home. Request the screen. Okay. If not, current screen equal to... So is the current screen equal to home? No. The current screen is shop. Current screen is shop, so this is false. So this is true. Ooh, hello. Okay, so there's one problem. So essentially, if we are not, so essentially this is saying only go if we are home. So, and this is not something that we want to happen. So this now can no longer apply. This can no longer be here. So, what we're going to essentially do is we're going to start separating this out into different if statements. So if current screen equals home, then do this. Otherwise, do something else. So right now, we're going to do if we are currently at home, then we are going to go home. Right? However, what if we're not home? What if we are already at the... What if we're at shop and we want to get to play? That is where our transitions come into play. So, for this, we are going to do a little bit of sketchy stuff using the Z index. Now, if you don't know what the Z index is, it's essentially a number value that dictates what GUI elements show above each other. And if so, we're gonna essentially use this. So if you look here, you will see that play is in position. A lot would argue 0. And honestly, I'm gonna go ahead and say the same thing. Play is in position 0. And then we're gonna say shop is in position 1, and coming soon is in position 2. So, coming soon is not actual right now, so we're just gonna ignore it for now. But we're gonna go into play, and we're going to adjust its Z index to be 0. And we're gonna go to shop, and we're gonna adjust its Z index to be 1, which it, technically speaking, already is. So, and now we're gonna also create a new function. So local function transition. What is this? Transition screen. And we're gonna pass requested screen into it. Now we're gonna leave this here because now this can only be fired if we are currently at home. Like, we can only leave home if we are at home. However, if we're not at home, it's a different story entirely. So now we are not at home. So we are not at home. We are not clicking on the same button. What happens? So first of all, of course, we need to make sure that transition debounce is not actual. So if transition debounce, then return end. And of course, we immediately set transition debounce to true. And down the line, we set transition debounce equals false. Don't need to pass parameters into functions if every variable is a global variable. Sir, I'd like to introduce you to the world of C. Or remind me to introduce you to the world of C when I visit you over break. Okay, one sec. One of my friends DM me something. Oh my god. The team waiting for Perseverance to land the program are wondering if that variable was supposed to be 5.4 or 0.54. What is this? CWM is currently, or I don't know if it's currently, yeah, CWM is currently meme sniping me, I think. Murphy, if you're in here, go ahead and throw me another bone, please. Or sorry, throw me another meme. Okay, transition debounds. So once again, sort of what do we want to do? So um, transition debounds is happening. So requested screen is doing something, right? So we wanna get that local. So for this, we're actually gonna have two separate variables. So we're gonna have local source screen, which is the current screen. So we're gonna go to hub current screen, and we're gonna have target screen, which is the screen that we're trying to get to. So requested screen. So now here is where the magic happens. If target screen dot zindex, is that a capital I or a lowercase I? That's a capital I, kek. So that index is greater than target dot or source dot z index, then else target dot zindex kek. Or heck, okay. So essentially, if the target index is greater than the source index, so essentially in the case of, if we're at the play and we click shop, the target index, which is 1, is greater than 0. So we are going to shift everything to the left, right? So shift everything left. However, if the target index is less than the source index, then we are going to shift everything right, because we're going to be moving everything right. So shift everything right. Have you seen the videos for the Perseverance rover landing? I'm honestly kind of ashamed to say that I have not seen the Perseverance rover landing yet. Yeah, so anyway, how do we shift everything left? Now, shifting everything left means that right now the screen is here, and we are moving the screen to the left. So the current screen, the source screen, is going to be in the middle. To make everything shift to the left, we need to make sure that the target screen is on the right. So we are going to set the target screen dot position udem.to.new, and we're going to set it to 1.5, so it's exactly one screen over to the right of our screen, 0.50. And similarly, if we're shifting everything right, we're going to set target screen dot position equals udem2.new, and we're going to set it to negative 1.5, 0, 0.50, because it's going to be all the way to, it's going to be one screen over to the right of our screen. Here is yet another fun thing. So, so we can honestly create a global tinfo for these two operations. So, local tinfo equals tweeninfo.new. Let's say we want this to take this entire transition to take 1.2 seconds, sort of as a nod to what was happening up here. We are going to have enum.easing style. Now, we're gonna have both things share this easing, or we're gonna have both operations share this easing style. So, and they're gonna be essentially moving exactly like each other. So we're gonna have them both use quad, and we're gonna have both of them ease both in and out. So, and that is called in out. So there's our tween info. So now we're going to ts create target screen. So our current screen, or source screen, is going to move exactly to the opposite side. So here it's 1.5, so ours, so this one is going to move to negative 1.5. So tinfo, and we're going to do position equals udim2.new negative 1.5 0 0.5 0. And we're going to do the same thing for target screen, but we're going to set its position to be 0.5 because now it is going to move to the center of our screen. And now we just need to do the same thing here, except now we're going into the opposite direction. And I think that is good for the most part. We're going to add another blocker delay. And we're going to set that to be equal to the tween info time here. And that should be good, I hope. But of course, nothing is going to work for the first time. I don't think so. And if it does work, then that means I've overlooked something. Okay, I am apparently not being meme sniped as I thought I was. You just happened to send me a random meme. Okay, so now if we go to shop, and if we go to play. Hey, what did I tell you? It's not gonna work. Oh, you know what? I know exactly why. Because we created this function, but we never actually decided to call it. So transition screen, and then we're gonna put the requested screen into here. Yeah. I'm kind of confused, to be honest with you. I keep seeing the current viewers jumping from 3 to 5 to 7. I'm not quite sure what to take of it. Either people are getting bored of my stream, or it's just late, or they're doing something. I don't know. Okay, so we have loaded in. We go to shop. That does that. And then nothing appears, and that is of course because I completely forgot that the target screen needs to become visible. So over here we're gonna go so we're gonna say target screen dot visible equals true. Now, for those of you particularly scripting orientated, you will start to see a pattern of script here. I'm essentially duplicating code, but changing some values a little bit. And I have done that for a very specific reason, and that is because scripting is iteration. You never start off with the most optimized code ever. Well, almost never. I guess there are some insane people out there that could potentially pull it off. But typically the way it works is you start off with something like this, and then you look at the ways that you can make it smaller and more and just generally nicer. So now if I go to shop, and I go to play, hey, look at that, and then something broke. Okay, so that works. But why does that break? Oh, because I forgot to set the current screen. There it is. So same way that we did here. Because this will always result in us switching over to the requested screen, we're going to set the current screen to the requested screen. So now if we test it out, hey, there we go. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'm honestly, personally, not really digging the not really digging the transition. So first of all, let's see if we just decreasing the delay or the amount of time it takes for the transition to take action. Let's see if that'll make it look slightly better. Because I have a fair idea of why it looks so weird. Okay, that has definitely made it better. Yeah, this also makes it slightly less painful for the player to have to wait for it to transition, you know. So honestly, I'm probably gonna do the exact same thing with the go home and leave home thing, but that'll come later. Great, thanks Roblox. I swear, Roblox picks the most optimum times to autosave. I'm happy that it autosaves, don't get me wrong, even though it only actually autosaves like half the time. Sorry, that was too generous, a quarter of the time. But yeah, it picks the most optimal times for that. Okay, so what have we left, or what do we have left to do now? Honestly, we have recreated a lot of the functionality that the main UI had, but we have slightly refactored it to look a little bit better and be a little bit more clean. At least I think it's cleaner. Let's go ahead and refactor this monstrosity here, so that it's a little bit nicer. So first things first, we're gonna have an arbitrary value that we're gonna say local screen offset position. Now, there's this thing in most programming language that is called a ternary operator. So in this case, and for some reason in Lua especially, it looks just completely moronic. I don't know why it looks the way it does, but it does. So here's the way it looks. So brackets, our condition, which is this, and now it is the value if it is true, so 1.5, or the value that it's at if it's false. Like I said, it's really weird. Even I don't understand why it looks this way, or why it is the way it is. But essentially, because we have now assigned, so now we have, if this condition is true, then it says this. If it is false, then it sets it to this. So because it is that way, now we can just compress all of this into just one of these. So we're gonna do this. Because if you look here, this is the polar opposite of this. So all we need to do here, so let me just put a couple spaces here so that you're not getting confused by what's relevant and what's not relevant. Now we can literally just replace this with screen offset position. Or screen scale position, I guess is more accurate. Screen scale position. Here, this will always be true, so this doesn't need to change at all. This here is always, so if you look here, this is 1.5, this is negative 1.5, this is negative 1.5, this is 1.5. So this value here will always be negative this, so we're gonna literally just put negative this. And then this here never changes. So now if we get rid of all of this, it is certainly a lot less readable. So in order to sort of fix that, we're gonna substitute, we're gonna insert some comments, and I'm just gonna return that so I make sure I don't get this wrong. So if targets indexes that, then shift left, otherwise shift right. Then we get rid of this. Okay. Who here is confused? Because I would not be lying if I said I was a little bit confused myself, or I would be confused if I wasn't doing this for such a long time. Um, yeah. So there's that. So we have essentially made all of the transitions that we will ever need, at least for the main menu. Now, granted, we haven't added some of the bells and whistles that the previous developer had, such as blurring the screen, for example. So let's go ahead and implement it. Oh, I already have it off screen. So okay. So one of the things that happened is if we go home, or sorry, if we leave home, then the screen goes blurry. So, for that, you know what? We're just gonna use the same tinfo, and right here, we are going to create another. So this is for screen blur effect, and we're just gonna do ts create lighting dot blur tinfo size equals 56. Play. And then similarly here, once we come home, we want to make sure, well, we clear that effect. So, once again, screen blur effect, ts create, and once again we're gonna be using this tinfo here. Or actually, no. For this one specifically, we're actually gonna be setting this down here because order of operations, or sorry, or order of these things happening. So this is the current screen fading out or phasing out, and this one is the home screen phasing back in. So lighting dot blur tinfo size equals 0, and we're gonna play that. Yeah, so that should work. Accidentally moved my little bar here. Okay, then let's not do that. Get back over there. Get back in the closet. Okay, so now if we go to shop, hey, would you look at that? And if we come home, beautiful. And then if we switch over into here stays the same. And if we go back home, it blurs back in, or fades back in, unblurs back in. I don't know how to call it, but I would say that looks really, really smooth. What do you guys think? Okay, one final thing that the original developer had was they had a little line over here that went over to wherever this thing was. So we're gonna implement that as well, and we're actually going to go ahead and create a separate function for that because that's gonna fire regardless of if we're home, or sorry, if we're home, then it's gonna disappear. But if we leave home or if we transition, it's gonna fire in both cases. So we're just gonna create a function so we have less duplicate code. So local function, and then that is called a mover. So I'm just gonna call this mover, and then I'm gonna do requested screen because that seems to be a fairly common archetype now. So yeah, so if we go back down here, we will see that for the mover, we set the size and we set the position to be that. And I'm just gonna take a quick screenshot of this. I don't know what that looks like on your guys' end. So now I have this little screenshot that I'm dragging over to my other screen so I can see and copy off of that. So move mover. Oh god, okay. So the way we're gonna do that, so this one is gonna be a asynchronous function. So it's not gonna block while the mover is doing what it's doing. So for this, we are going to welcome back, Dr. Badbrain. Glad you could rejoin us. So for this, we are going to uh, local or tinfo equals tweeninfo dot new, and then we're going to set it to 0.25, which the original developer had this set to. And we might play around with it a little bit later. So ts create default dot selection dot mover. Oh, probably want to do that. We're going to pass in tinfo, and we're going to pass in that that dictionary here. So we're going to have size equal to udem2 dot new 0.175. I don't know why that value, but I guess it was created by the not even the scripter, the one who made the UI. I think was responsible for that value. And then position equals udem2 dot new, and then I have the select position x scale here. So we're gonna set that as a, so first of all, so we're gonna set that as a value as well. So local selection position x scale. I misspelled that really badly. Selection position x scale equals default dot selection requested screen dot position dot x dot kek dot position dot x dot scale. So now we're going to use that variable here. So selection position x scale 0 1 0, and then we're just going to play this. Now once again, I mentioned that this is going to fire regardless of so it's going to fire in two scenarios. It's going to fire when we come home or when we leave home, and it's going to fire when we transition the screen. So I am going to go ahead and call this at the start of both of those. So if I go to, so here is the target screen. I'm going to go ahead and just call it after the transition debounce is set to true. So, and I called that move mover, I believe. Oh, except move mover is all the way down here, so Roblox doesn't, or Lua doesn't realize that it's actually a function. So I'm going to move it all the way up here. So, move mover, oh wait, that's come home. We don't want it at come home. We want it to leave at leave home. So, move mover requested screen. And then same thing for transition screen. Move mover requested screen. And let's just look at that. Now the problem, of course, is once we return home, this thing is, well, here to stay. So we actually need to. Sorry, that's really mesmerizing. So we actually, so when we come home, we want to actually clean up the mover. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna create a local function clean up mover, or even better yet, hide mover, because that's what it's doing. It's hiding it. Okay, we don't actually need anything passed into here because all it's doing is just hiding the mover. And if I look back at my screenshot, I am currently looking for where exact. So here is what we use. Jeez. Um, this is what we used to create the move mover. So now I'm looking for where we actually get rid of the mover as the original script did. Aha, found it. So it's actually not even visualized here. If I close this, and I take a screenshot, except I need to expand this. Here, one moment. There we go. So here, CAC. Sorry, Roblox Studio is really, really laggy occasionally. So here, we need to essentially just, well, set its size to 0, 0, 0. It's that simple. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. So once again, local tinfo equals tweeninfo.new 0.25 ts create default dot selection dot selection dot mover tinfo, and then the little array. And then all we're doing is setting the size to udim2.new 0, 0, 0, 0. And then we're playing that. So that is that, and we want to only call this hide mover function once we come home. So come home, and we're probably going to do that right here after the screen blur effect starts fading out. So hide mover. So I'm gonna wait for that lag spike to hit. There we go. Lag spike has begun. And now if we return home, it's gonna hide itself. Beautiful. Okay. One thing I'm not sure I quite like is the easing style of the mover when it's fading in and fading out. So I'm gonna fix it. So enum dot easing style dot quad enum dot easing direction, and for when it appears, we're gonna have it ease out. And then when it's hiding, or when it's going into the hiding mode, enum.easingStyle.quad, and we're going to have it ease in. enum.easingDirection.end. Let's try it now. Okay, so now the problem becomes the following. So I definitely noticed a slight change, but the change is honestly not even that big. So in order to boost it up, and the reason it doesn't seem that big is because the speed at which it does this is pretty big. So let's just try. Don't press insert. Never press insert. Insert is bad. Let's just try boosting it up to 1 and see what happens there. So now, okay, so that's okay-ish. I was not a big fan at all of the yeah. So I'm not a big fan of the way that it looks when it like comes out like that. So I'm gonna definitely speed that up a little bit. So, and by a little bit I mean by a lot. 0.5. So we're going back to more or less a fast speed. Now, the other thing that I'm not quite sure I like is it disappears halfway through through like going in there. So I'm gonna actually put this to 0.05 so it doesn't decrease in size in the Y direction, but only the X direction. So let's see what that looks like. Okay, wait for the lag spikes to clear up. There we go. Definitely better, methinks. Probably will need some fine tuning, but that's something I'll be talking about to Itamar. So there is that. We have essentially today we have brushed up the UI from the way it was left with us. So I'm honestly probably gonna end it here. I know we didn't do a lot in terms of like actually adding functionality. So for something like this, for example, because well, this does need functionality, absolutely. But especially this, because this is what you're going to be using to, well, to control which team you're joining. And we didn't add a lot of functionality to that because we were mainly refactoring the old code. So that is definitely something we're going to be doing in the next time, and most likely that time is going to be tomorrow. So I am gonna be crunching to finish this. I'm gonna be crunching to finish this UI as soon as possible. So yeah, there's that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this this stream. I certainly hope you guys learned something, even though I was going at a really fast pace. I'm hoping that, well, you'll potentially take some of the concepts I applied and be able to use it. Is it possible there will be more building streams in the future is the question. Yes. I don't know whether or not there will be building streams regarding Site-17, but I will definitely be doing building streams for Roblox generally. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so that's pretty much that. Yee. I don't know how I want to end this off because it's 1:21 a.m. and I'm kind of dead inside. Can the old version of Site-17 be open source? That is not up to me. That is entirely up to Itamar. I don't know. Yeah, that I don't know. That's not up to me, unfortunately. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream here. Thank you guys for watching. So now, don't be like that. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream here. If you guys have any questions regarding anything I did during the stream, feel free to shoot me a DM. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. However, you will need to send me a friend request first because my DMs are turned off because I have a lot of really random people sending me really random DMs otherwise. So yeah. Or just tag me in SCP and I'll do my best to answer there. Yeah, no problem. See you guys later. Peace. Ignore that.